I think the current studies are actually showing that today's generation and Generation Z is the very first generation in America to be considered post-Christian. And to think through some of those statistics of knowing that there are close to 100,000 middle and high school students in our city. Man, there's potentially 70 to 80,000 students in our city, middle and high school, who don't have a relationship with Jesus.
There's so many barriers in these kids' lives that they reject it on a regular basis. And the question is, are you going to love them anyway? 1 Thessalonians 2:8 says, "For we loved you so much that we shared with you not only the gospel of Jesus Christ, but our lives as well." Youth for Christ reaches young people everywhere, working together with the local church and other like-minded partners to raise up lifelong followers of Jesus Christ. So who we are is we're an organization that helps mobilize the local church. And I believe the local church is not buildings, but people. So we help mobilize people to invest in the generation of today's youth.
Youth for Christ is an organization that works primarily with middle school and high school students, reaching them where they're at, so on their school campus, in their neighborhoods, through a relational-based ministry.
Faith is everything. And you know, we say, even in our holistic approach, if we can help them get jobs and help them graduate high school and give them a safe place to live, and they even start serving other people, but they don't come to know Christ, it's been for nothing. But it really happens when you're sitting down one-on-one with a student or whatever, and you're listening to their story. I strongly believe that evangelism starts by hearing their story.
Really just, like I said, giving direction, giving kids something to believe in, giving them hope. I've seen when you share the gospel with a kid, what it can do, because I was that kid. I've seen people just continue to pour into me, walk through life with me, show me new direction, and I've seen the change that I had in my life. So to see that, to see where I've come from, I want to be that for another kid.
It matters because this is the Great Commission. I mean, it's what we're called to do. This was Jesus' last words to us, to go and make disciples of all the nations. And if we're not making disciples somewhere in our life, then we're being disobedient.
I feel like it's important for every generation to have a connection to their more spiritual side, and that it's been sort of neglected with this influx of like technology and social media. I feel like this generation has lost that connection. I absolutely look forward to it every week. It's just the highlight of my week.
Youth for Christ made all the difference. Without Youth for Christ, I wouldn't be here today.
As a freshman, I considered myself an atheist. After listening to the talks through club and stuff, and all of the mentors pouring into my life and sharing the gospel with me, eventually I was saved. If it weren't for Youth for Christ, I have no clue where I would be.
And I do it because there's not many places like this. There's not many places like Youth for Christ or City Life where you're actually serious about believers as volunteers, staff, or interns, and you're actually placing yourself in at-risk neighborhoods and places, and you're putting yourself on a battlefield and involving yourself in real-life situations with children. I want to be a part of that. I want to be on the front ends fighting for and with these children and these families.
You know, for our dream to become that reality, we need resources, and we need a lot of resources. We're calling for an army, and we believe that God is pulling together and building the foundation so we can have an army of people. So we need financial support. No matter what ministry it is, you can't operate without a budget. So we need to be able to cover our budget and continue to grow our budget so that we can put more missionaries out into the field where the students live.
Man, the more and more I'm learning that they are a generation that is a product of brokenness, broken homes, parents not in the home, being raised by grandparents or aunts or uncles, and I think in turn to that, it leads a generation to hopelessness. Man, but the one good thing and the beautiful thing about the good news and the gospel of Jesus is it brings hope and freedom and peace and comfort and resiliency through a lot of things. And I think that's what excites me, especially with organizations like Youth for Christ, is to see how they're building relationships and engaging with students in our community, which oftentimes will lead to hope.
This generation is so important, one, because they're going to be the leaders of the next 10, 20 years. And if we want to live in a world that has strong Christian, loving people in it, we have to help grow those people. Those people don't sprout up on trees. If you find somebody that you love and respect and whose faith background you admire, they could probably tell you 10 people who poured into them and who helped them learn who Jesus was. You don't get that on your own.
Just the ability for Youth for Christ and what they're doing, and to spread themselves throughout the community on a day-to-day basis, being in the schools and building relationships with not only the students but the teachers and our leaders in the community. I'm seeing Youth for Christ change lives just for their ability to be involved and in the schools and to build those relationships, and to the history. They've been around for so long, and there's a reputation that they're well known and well respected. And so, man, to see one student change a life, it makes it all worth it.